Welcome to the Climate Registry's webinar on introducing TCR's new reporting platform. My name is Jaya, and I'd like to thank you all again for joining. We'll start with some housekeeping. All attendees are on mute by default, but you can ask questions at any time throughout the webinar by typing your question into the GoToWebinar question box on your left-hand side in the pop-up window. I'll be monitoring the questions throughout the call, but we will answer all of the questions at the end. Also, a PDF of the slide deck and a recording of today's presentation will be available afterwards. Next slide. So again, my name is Jaya. I'm the Registry Services Program Coordinator, and I'll begin our webinar by giving an introduction to the Climate Registry. Then we'll move to my colleague, Crystal, who will go over greenhouse gas emissions and also an introduction to CRIS5, our new reporting platform. Following that, we'll do a Q&A at the end. Next slide. So just to give you a brief introduction about who we are, we're the Climate Registry. We're an NGO that was established by states and provinces in 2007 to continue the work of the California Climate Action Registry, which was created in 2001 through California legislation with a mandate to provide guidance to California businesses for managing their greenhouse gas impacts. TCR designs and operates voluntary and compliance greenhouse gas reporting programs globally and assists organizations in measuring, reporting, and verifying the carbon in their operations in order to manage and reduce it. TCR also consults with governments nationally and internationally on all aspects of greenhouse gas measurement, reporting, and verification. TCR's government comprises of a board of directors and a council of jurisdiction that is comprised of jurisdictional leaders, and those leaders are representative of 47% of US populations and 96% of Canadian populations. Next slide. Our mission statement is that the Climate Registry connects, empowers, and inspires organizations with the resources to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in order to mitigate climate change. Every day we work towards this vision by operating greenhouse gas registries and providing resources and services that assist organizations to measure, report, and verify the greenhouse gases in their operations. Next slide. A bit of context about why we do what we do. The global emissions trajectory is increasing. According to the US Energy Information Administration's annual energy outlook for 2019, the carbon footprint of the United States will barely decrease for the foreseeable future and will be slightly higher in 2050 than it is now. The global emissions trajectory is increasing, with emissions projected to increase to 43 billion metric tons in 2050 in comparison to 35 billion metric tons last year. Increased action and more ambition are needed to combat the climate crisis now. And accurate, transparent greenhouse gas data empowers cities, corporations, subnational jurisdictions, and countries to identify reduction opportunities, track their progress, and be held accountable to their stakeholders. Next slide. So again, what we do, we work on building capacity in greenhouse gas measurement, reporting, and verification. We showcase and support North American climate leadership through our annual Climate Leadership Conference. We also recognize and incentivize excellence in greenhouse gas reporting and reductions through our Climate Leadership Awards held at our Climate Leadership Conference every year. We also are working on supporting more climate action and ambition via innovative new tools. Next slide. And with that, I'll pass it to Crystal.
Thank you, Jaya. We'll briefly go over greenhouse gas emissions and why they're important to report. Greenhouse gases are gases that are naturally present in the atmosphere. Like all other natural cycles found on Earth, Earth has a way of naturally maintaining a balance in the greenhouse gas system. However, with the increase in human activities since the Industrial Revolution, Earth's atmosphere has received an influx of greenhouse gases. Essentially, Earth's natural system is out of balance. Greenhouse gases that are most notable are those that have been identified in the Kyoto Protocol: carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases. While these gases can all be found naturally in nature and in the atmosphere, the increased amount of gases being released into our atmosphere poses a significant threat to businesses and their operations. The increased concentrations of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere from human activities have been linked to the extreme weather and climate events and are estimated to continue to occur. Businesses remain vulnerable as the impacts of extreme weather and climate-related events continue to increase in strength and in quantity. These natural events can be unpredictable and disruptive to businesses, leading to significant losses and damages. The most recent IPCC report, AR6, shares not so surprising information: a 50% chance of global temperatures reaching or surpassing the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold by 2040, and most likely by 2037. Increasing temperatures are not just uncomfortable to live in, they make it challenging for organizations to continue operations and keep their costs low. Continuing down the trajectory of the current climate crisis could cost the US economy $14.5 trillion over the next 50 years and nearly 900,000 jobs per year over the next 50 years, according to a Deloitte report on the United States Turning Point on Climate Change. Inaction on monitoring human activities and contributions to the current climate crisis could lead to economic damages and stress to every industry. Each sector has a part to play in contributing to the increase in greenhouse gas emissions. Activities such as electricity and heat production, industry, forestry, agriculture, transportation, and commercial and residential buildings all emit greenhouse gas emissions that derive from human activities. Most of the activities involve the use of fossil fuels to generate energy for heating and/or cooling and land disturbance. In some cases, such as forestry and agriculture, land disturbance removes the ability for natural carbon sequestration to occur in biomass, dead organic matter, and healthy soils. Greenhouse gas emissions pose an increased risk to an organization's physical, financial, and regulatory risk. In 2023 alone, North America has experienced a myriad of extreme weather events. The West Coast was hit by a stream of atmospheric rivers pummeling the western states with waves of rain and an unprecedented amount of snow that left many in the San Bernardino Mountains trapped for a couple of weeks, making it challenging for businesses to operate, especially those that live for those record snow levels. The Midwest and southern US states experienced much warmer temperatures, leading to tornadoes, flooding, and spring-like conditions earlier in the year. While wildfires in Canada are not unusual to conditions created by the the conditions created by the wildfires are not. Wildfires raged across Canada early in the season, contributing to extremely poor air quality to states neighboring the Canadian border. Where America's day begins, Guam was subjected to the power of Typhoon Mawar, the strongest storm to hit the US territory in recent history. Planning and understanding how to protect your business assets from extreme weather events is the easy part. Developing a plan to decarbonize your operations is the challenging part. A path towards decarbonization by all organizations is a change that needs to happen to guarantee a turning point in the climate crisis we are facing. All of our businesses are linked together. We are a part of someone else's value chain. If we all aim to make a bold decision to take action and decarbonize, we can collectively mitigate the negative financial implications each of our businesses will experience in the next 50 years. What can your organization do? Can they start making changes today? Of course you can. These are the last three things that your organization, these are at least the three things that your organization can do. You can commit to reducing its greenhouse gas emissions, understand your organization's carbon footprint, measure, report, and verify your greenhouse gas emissions in the business operations in order to manage and reduce your carbon footprint. Committing to reduce your organization's greenhouse gas emissions is step one towards decarbonizing your operations. Publicizing your commitment provides transparency and accountability with your stakeholders. It demonstrates your readiness to begin the process to disclose actions and goals, build capacity, and learn effective strategies to decarbonize and reduce your carbon footprint. There are so many avenues that your organization's commitment can be disclosed in. Sustainability or ESG annual reports. The Climate Registry's own reporting platform provides organizations the ability to disclose their GHG reduction goals. The Net Zero portal presented by the Climate Registry, Race to Zero, science-based targets, or carbon neutrality goals. Any one of these avenues will set you on track for the best greenhouse gas reduction goal that is best for your organization. Establish a plan of how your organization aims to achieve its goals. What is the time frame? Set interim targets to assist in monitoring progress and timeline trajectory. It requires cultural transformation of a company from a business to operations, with commitments starting with the C-suite executives. Proceed with the plan to take immediate action in achieving net zero or greenhouse gas reduction goals. Understanding your organization's carbon footprint begins with defining your reporting boundary. The reporting boundary needs to include the GHG sources that are relevant to the operational and sustainability goals. You will need to identify sources of greenhouse gas emissions that is being contributed by your organization directly and indirectly. Establishing a reporting period is a way to measure and compare emissions on an annual basis. An organization's reporting period can be either a calendar year or a fiscal year. By establishing a reporting period and an annual reporting period, an organization can see trends of their emissions over time to track reductions of organizational greenhouse gas emissions that can be shared with investors and stakeholders to demonstrate transparency and credibility. Today, most organizations do not include one factory in one city located in one country. Today, organizations vary in size and geographical locations. Some may have a footprint in several locations that may be emitting various amounts of greenhouse gases that may differ at each location. Or an organization has one facility with one footprint. No matter the scenario, understanding your organization's geography will help you gain a better understanding of all the facilities, equipment, and people that contribute to your organization's carbon footprint. To measure, report, and verify your organization's emissions is to know and understand the sources of your emissions. Greenhouse gas sources can be direct and indirect emissions that are categorized as Scope 1, Scope 2, and Scope 3 emissions. Scope 1 emissions are direct anthropogenic GHG emissions. These emissions come directly from within the organization boundary. These sources vary for each organization, but can include stationary combustion equipment, such as boilers, furnaces, burners, turbines, and other stationary combustion equipment. Physical and chemical processes other than fuel combustion. Some of these activities can be manufacturing cement, aluminum, and ammonia, to name a few. Then there's also fugitive emissions that can be like the release of sulfur, hexafluoride from electrical equipment, hydrofluorocarbon released during the use of refrigeration and air conditioning equipment, landfill gas, and methane leakage from transporting natural gas. Scope 2 emissions are indirect anthropogenic GHG emissions associated with the consumption of purchased or acquired electricity, steam, heating, or cooling, collectively referred to as consumed energy. They are the consequences of activities that take place within the organizational boundary, but occur at sources owned or controlled by another organization. Scope 2 indirect emissions are associated with consumed energy and typically are reported by one organization as a Scope 1 emission, and then by the consuming organization as their Scope 2. For example, a power plant that generates electricity will report the emissions resulting from the generation of electricity as Scope 1, their direct emissions, while the company that is the consumer of the electricity would report the indirect emissions as Scope 2. Scope 3 emissions are all other non-Scope 2 indirect anthropogenic GHG emissions that occur in the value chain. Scope 3 is a broad category of indirect emissions other than emissions associated with consumed energy. It is comprised of 15 categories that cover topics such as business travel, employee commuting, and use of sold products to name a few of the Scope 3 categories. Reporting Scope 3 emissions provides an opportunity for identifying and reducing emissions across the value chain and communicating innovation in the GHG management. There are additional emissions that are excluded from the scope categories. Biogenic emissions is carbon dioxide that is generated during the combustion or decomposition of biologically based material. We are starting to see examples of this in the form of biofuel and biomass. Fuel that is derived from wood waste, sulfite, vegetable waste, animal waste, and other biogases. Here at the Climate Registry, we track and have biogenic emissions reported separately from other emissions because the carbon in biomass was recently contained in living organic matter. This sets us apart from the carbon in fossil fuels that has been trapped in geologic formations for millennia, only being released due to human activities. Working together to decarbonize our business and transition our economy to a low-emission economy reduces our organization's vulnerability to future shocks and disasters. If we all collectively work together towards a low-emission or net zero economy, we reduce the threat of increased extreme weather events and stabilize the climate where it is at currently. We are able to build a community of resilience together through early progress in unlocking extraordinary economic opportunities. Systemic change is within our reach. Lower emission energy systems, low emission transportation, prioritize investments that strategically reduce emissions, develop products and services that change consumer behavior. By taking these steps now, the benefits outweigh the costs, guaranteeing a decarbonized and sustainable future. The U.S. Energy Information Administration recently released their annual energy outlook for 2023. Outlook for 2023 provides a positive outlook. The U.S. Energy Information Administration's modeling project that by 2030, energy-related carbon dioxide emissions fall 25% to 38% below 2005 levels. This is because of increased electrification, higher equipment efficiencies, and more zero carbon electricity generation. Let's start today to reduce your organization's climate risk and decarbonize your operations. And now I will show you what our new platform does. When you log in, this is your landing page, and this area up here gives you the opportunity to go ahead and select any reporting years that you've previously reported for, or create a new reporting year. From here, you're able to navigate to the various sections to assist you with the reporting process. We've developed the landing page to be the first page that you land on, because it is where all of the basic information for how your organization wants to report their emissions is going to be housed and stored. Entering your organization's basic information, you will find a simple form for you to complete. You simply click the next button. It will take you to the next page that needs to be completed. You will report how your inventory boundaries are, which greenhouse gases you plan on excluding, and then what is going to be included in your reporting boundary. We also would like to know what reporting standard you'll be using. We have we provide sector-specific guidances. We have our general reporting protocol. We have different what your reporting year is going to be, calendar year or fiscal year. And then when you click next after completing this section, it takes you to the report emissions page, which is also the facilities page. Here, you will be able to see a list of all of your facilities at one glance. You can filter between your facilities on reported scopes. You can see which facilities have been completed and incomplete that still needs reporting for. You can see everything all at once. You can also simply search by a name, and the facilities associated with that name will populate for you. When creating a new facility, you simply click Create a New Facility. You enter the information about that facility. This information is helpful as it gives you a brief description of what it is, the location of where that facility is located, in case that information is pertinent and something that's going to be useful for you in the future. As you can see, you can see all of a summary of your greenhouse gas emissions as it's entered into your report. Currently, this is the demo site, so there's not a whole lot of information displayed in here, but you can see that there are tables to easily understand what's been reported for that facility and a summary of the more in detail summary of the report emissions. You will again see a description of your facility with the facility box. You can edit the facility information here. You can see a summary of the scopes that's been reported so far based off of the Kyoto Protocol gases. You have the ability to report at a facility level or a source level. At the facility level, you have the opportunity to input the emissions as pre-calculated information. You would simply select the activity type, complete the fields necessary of the pre-calculated data for the 7 gases. Once you're done, you can click Save and then go back to facility, or you can continue entering another row of information that will populate in this table down below. To report the source emissions, you would simply come here to this table, click on Report Emissions, complete the filters. Source level emissions table allows you to use the calculator that we have built into our reporting platform, CRIS. It will again have you select an activity type. Based off of the activity type, you will then have filters that will populate. You then select based off of that filter and so on and so forth. Each filter adjusts based off of the activity type. So it will start at the high level and move into the granular level as you move through the filters. Once you're done, you simply click the Save button and move on. Once you're done reporting all of your facilities, you can click to the Return to the Facilities page. You notice here that I have a Complete button. You simply, once you've entered all of your data for each facility, To mark it complete, you simply click on the complete button at the top, and then it'll mark it complete on this page. We give you this visual to help you visually see which facilities are completed and incomplete for reporting. After you've inputted all of your information, you return to the inventory overview page and you complete the materials under disclosure. We have the indirect emissions disclosure form where you report any of the emissions that are not directly reported in your facilities report and you wish to disclose here. Here you would also report and connect any instruments, contractual instruments such as RECs, power purchase agreements, or any other contractual documents that you'd like to be linked to specific facilities. We have offsets that are reported separately. We have a list of offset providers here, and if there's one that's not listed here, you would simply click other, input the number of offsets purchased, and then in the comment section, you would list the provider of that particular offset for us to be able to review. When you enter in the offsets, it automatically totals up the amount of offsets that you've purchased. As you apply the offsets to each one of your scopes, you can either offset all or enter a custom amount. Once you click on either one of this button for offset all or enter a custom amount, a total here will populate for the amount of emissions that are remaining for that particular scope. It will also total up or update the calculation for the offsets for mining and the offsets that have been applied. If you have any minuscule sources that you'd like to disclose, this would be the area that you would disclose it. Each one has a different specific or disclosures to share, so the list will change as you select one of these sectors. Finally, if you plan on verifying, you would simply come to the planning for verification and click verify. You would select a verification body that has been approved by TCR from this list. We have a documents library to easily upload and add new documents or to review any documents that you have currently uploaded into the system for this particular reporting year. When you're done, you could submit your inventory by reviewing this page and clicking next. A pop-up will pop up for you, prompting you to verify that you'd like to continue the inventory into the verification or submission process. Once done, your inventory will be pushed through to either submission or will move into verification in progress and notify your verification body if that has been selected. You also have the opportunity to review your data in the dashboard. This is a recent addition to our CRIS platform. It provides you the visualizations that you need. You can, at first glance, it provides you the cumulative total for all of the reporting years that you've currently reported within the CRIS platform. To find a selected year, you can simply click on the drop-down button and hit apply, and it will automatically adjust for you. All of these widgets here, graphs and charts, are interactive. So you can get a bigger picture as to what is included in your emissions. The benefits of greenhouse gas reporting offer several benefits with us here at the Climate Registry. by using our proprietary software, CRIS. You will help your organization be more competitive as you identify areas of operations where you can save money or become more efficient. You will be prepared for future climate policy and mandated regulations. You will establish your organization as a leader in the low carbon net zero economy and allows you to convey that leadership to your various stakeholders and investors. You will be able to track your success by developing annual inventories and reporting them to a consistent standard. You will be able to set a baseline and track your organization's progress towards your net zero goals. The Climate Registry adheres its credible carbon reporting to 5 overarching accounting and reporting principles to ensure that GHG data represents a faithful, true, and fair account of an organization's GHG emissions. Relevance. We ensure that the GHG inventory appropriately reflects an organization's GHG emissions and serves the decision-making needs of users, both internal and external to the organization. Completeness. Account for and report all relevant GHG emissions and activities within the defined inventory boundary. Consistency. We use consistent methods to allow for meaningful comparisons of emissions over time. Clearly document any changes to the data, inventory boundary, methods, or any other relevant factors. Transparency. We address all relevant issues in a factual and coherent manner based on a clear audit trail, disclose any relevant assumptions, and make appropriate references to the quantification methods and data sources used to allow intended users to make decisions with reasonable confidence. Accuracy. We ensure that the quantification of GHG emissions is neither systematically overstating nor understating true emissions, and that uncertainties are reduced as much as practicable. Achieve sufficient accuracy to enable users of the data to make decisions with reasonable assurance of the integrity of the reported information. We maintain and publish protocols and guidance documents. Our protocols are based on international best practice and existing GHG standards and guidance and developed through a comprehensive public stakeholder process. Our protocols are publicly available to anyone to download and use. We have a general reporting protocol that serves as the main protocol and have developed several sector-specific supplemental protocols, such as the electric power sector, water energy nexus, local government operations, and oil and gas protocol. And we also release additional guidance documents on specific topics. The world resources, the foundation of our reporting program is the General Reporting Protocol, also known by the acronym GRP. The most recent update to the GRP version 3.0 was released in May of 2019. The GRP contains the basic cross-sector requirements for reporting a GHG inventory. It is broken up into separate modules, which mirror the components of the reporting process. It embodies GHG accounting best practices drawn from the following existing GHG standards and guidance: the World Resource Institute and World Business Council for Sustainable Development GHG Protocol Corporate Accounting and Reporting Standard, the GHG Protocol Scope 2 Guidance, an amendment to the GHG Protocol's Corporate Standard, the GHG Protocol Corporate Value Chain for Scope 3 Accounting and Reporting Standard, ISO Standard 14064-1 2018 for greenhouse gases, and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Center for Corporate Climate Leadership Greenhouse Gas Inventory Guidance. To address the needs of reporters in certain sectors, TCR also publishes sector-specific protocols that contain additional reporting guidance. These are all designed to be used in conjunction with the GRP. An example is the Water Energy Nexus Registry Protocol. Finally, after following the basic reporting requirements of the GRP and any requirements from sector-specific protocols, you can refer to our other topical guidance documents for additional information on reporting for specific sources. The example pictured here is the Accounting for Small Emission Sources guidance. And we wanted to share with you right now, we are offering a new member summer special. If you become a member by September 1, you will receive 4 months off free membership for 2023 and a 20% off membership for 2024. Just to keep a note, this offer is only available to new members and it exclusively applies to the essential membership level. The offer can only be redeemed now through September 1st of this year. So if you're interested, please let us know and give us and contact us. Thank you for listening to the webinar, and we'll be happy to take any questions now.
Okay, again, if you have any questions, please enter them in the questions side panel and we can go ahead and answer them. Crystal, we have a couple of questions about CRIS 5. So first question is, does the dashboard's historical emissions graph include emissions reported to the California Climate Action Registry, or CAR?
Yes, we have migrated all of the historical information that's been reported in previous CRIS versions into the new updated platform.
Great. And another question, by creating a new inventory, are the facilities, sources, operation, and summary pages automatically copied from the previous year?
Yes, the inventory, the facility information is copied from the previous year. It does not copy over any new facilities. It does not copy over your specific emission data from the previous year. So that information will need to be re-entered.
Great. Another question here, what are the main differences between this version and the prior version?
The main version, or the main difference between this version and the prior version is the over user interface. We really made an effort to make this version easier to use, easier to navigate and locate the different items that that are important and integral in your reporting process. We've also made it easy to understand what has been reported for each facility via the facility reporting page or the report emissions page by having you having all of the facility information summarized on that initial card, and then providing you the in-depth detail for each for the gases that have been reported for that particular facility. We also have included the completed checkbox so you know if that facility's reporting has been completed or if it's still incomplete and still requires more emission data to be inputted for that particular facility.
Great, and we have another question here. Where can we find access to CRIS 5?
So once you become a member of the Climate Registry, we will provide you the link to access CRIS 5. And we will be updating the website to direct that link to the CRIS 5 webpage, also on our Climate Registry homepage.
Okay, and another question here, how does the verification process work?
So the verification process works by selecting the verifier through the planning for verification card on your inventories or the initial page. Once you submit your report, it automatically gets pushed over to the verification body that you've selected. Once there, it goes into a verification in progress where the verifier then has the ability to review your report, the information that you've reported, any supplemental documents that is integral as backup documentation for your inventory. And then it goes through a review process. And once the review process is completed, TCR will then accept your report and publish the report.
Great. And then another question here. Are you able to download the emissions and activity data in CSV format similar to the previous version?
Yes, you are able to. We have created that ability to do that. Currently, there's been an issue with the dashboard. We are working to reinstate that ability. Otherwise, I would have shown that to you guys today. But as soon as that possibility becomes available again, then we will go ahead and communicate that out to all of our CRIS user licensees.
Another question here. What is the difference between the Climate Registry member portal and the CRIS login information?
The CRIS login information is strictly for our CRIS platform. That is where you will go to report your greenhouse gas emissions for your organization. The Climate Registry member portal is now a location where it provides you all of your resources consolidated in one place. We have included a knowledge base in there to allow keep you updated on any frequently asked questions that we've received at the help desk and have provided solutions to in that area also. We also have forums that allows you to communicate with one another, ask questions, share knowledge. It is a platform for members to interact and communicate not only with us here at the Climate Registry, but with one another.
Great, thank you, Crystal. And another question here. Can we sign up for a private demo? How do we do that?
Of course, you can sign up for a private demo. You can email us at help@theclimateregistry.org or info@theclimateregistry.org.
Okay, and another question here. How does the help desk work?
The help desk works by emailing us here at the help desk with any of your questions, and we will work to find a solution to your question. Currently, our membership levels have specific hours assigned to each level. At the essentials level, there are 4 hours for dedicated help desk time, and the number of hours for help desk do increase at the advanced level and at the premium level.
All right. Here's another question. How is TCR staying competitive in the increasingly crowded greenhouse gas disclosure industry?
We are staying competitive in the increasingly crowded greenhouse gas disclosure industry by providing our members with the ability to credibly report their carbon. We are backed by the WRI GHG protocol, Scope 1, Scope 2, and Scope 3, the ISO standards, and the US EPA climate documentation. So we stay relevant and competitive by sticking to our foundations.
Yeah, I'd also like to add that we do offer a verification process directly through the Climate Registry, which adds another layer of credibility by having a third-party verifier review your emissions inventory. Once that verification process is done, we publicly disclose your inventory on our website to provide that extra layer of credibility. Another question here. The auditor list is very small. Is TCR considering allowing more auditor qualification?
Yes, we are always looking for and interested in having more auditors participate with us, our verification bodies. There is a process, and if anyone is interested, please contact verification@theclimateregistry.org.
Okay, and I guess we can allow a couple more minutes if anyone else has any other questions. Again, please go ahead and enter those in the questions box. And we'll stay on the line maybe 2 more minutes to give time for any other questions. Otherwise, thank you again for attending the webinar. We'd be happy to answer any other questions you have at help@theclimateregistry.org. Here's another question. Is the software available for non-TCR members?
Currently, CRIS 5 is not available for non-TCR members. We will be making the public reports available on our Climate Registry website. We are currently finalizing the public reports and we'll make that available as soon as possible.
Another question here. What feature in CRIS are you most excited about?
The one feature that we've brought on board to CRIS was the dashboard. I think this really elevates the data visualization that was lacking in the previous versions of CRIS. And we plan on providing more enhanced metrics and visuals with the higher levels at the advanced and premium levels. So again, if you guys are interested in seeing what those dashboards look like, please feel free to email us at help@theclimateregistry.org.
Okay, another question here. What is the difference between locked and TCR accepted in the reporting progress column in our CRIS history?
The difference between locked and TCR accepted means that locked, you've either submitted your application and it's being reviewed, or you only submitted your application and you don't plan on going through verification. TCR accepted means that your report for that particular reporting year has undergone the verification process, has undergone a TCR review to double check and make sure that everything is up to TCR standards prior to us accepting the report that's been verified and submitted to us before we publish it to our public network. And these are the same identifiers that you'll find in CRIS 5, but now you will be able to track the progress of your report through that top bar on the last page of where you report your emissions or you submit your report.
Okay, another question here. Can we disclose our reduction goals or net zero commitments through TCR?
Yes, we highly suggest that all of our community, our TCR members, our TCR community, TCR network, log into the net zero portal to disclose your net zero or carbon neutrality goals and commitments. You can also look into steps and guidelines and how to enhance your pledge. We also allow you to have the opportunity to look at what others in the net zero community are doing who have submitted their pledges. So please go to check out the net zero portal page on our climate registry website to take you to the net zero portal.
Okay, another question here. Are your members listed on the TCR website?
Yes, our members are listed on the TCR website under the member index. All of our members, and we're constantly updating that page as new members join on to the TCR membership.
Another question here. What is the cost of a membership with TCR?
Membership varies for each organization, so if you'd like to know what your membership would cost for your organization, please reach out to us at help@theclimateregistry.org.
All right, if there are no other questions, we can go ahead and end our webinar here. Thank you everyone again for attending. The slide deck and a recording of the webinar will be emailed to all registrants of this webinar later this week.